gentlemen, please rise for the 35th President of the United States of America, John F. Kennedy.
It's so refreshing to have such a young president that's actually born in this century.
Yeah, but he's Catholic, so what if he's secretly being controlled by the Pope?
So what? It's so nice to have such a fresh face. Besides, it's 1960 for Christ's sake.
And even though a civil war has brought communists to power in Cuba, just 90 miles off our coast, America remains strong in the face of the Red Menace. We will contain this disease engulfing humanity and help the people of Cuba find their way back to democracy.
Woo! Yeah! Mr. President, we're going to start training Cuban exiles who will return to Cuba and overthrow the Communist Party.
Sounds like a foolproof plan!
With the news of Fidel Castro's success in the Cuban Revolution, the American government knew it needed to do something about the growing communist threat so close to home. To prepare for an attack against the new Cuban government, the CIA trained a group of Cuban exiles. They hoped that the exiles would help spur a counter-revolution within the country by civilians. On April 17, 1961, the military force arrived at the Bay of Pigs on the southern coast of Cuba. It was obvious from the start of the fighting that the exiles were greatly outnumbered, outgunned, and in all respects inferior to Castro's forces. However, President Kennedy decided not to call in the Air Force to aid in the fight. After a couple of days, all of the soldiers had either been killed or captured. The total defeat not only was embarrassing to the Kennedy administration, but also further damaged Cuban-American relations and caused tensions to grow between the two countries.
After the Bay of Pigs invasion, the Soviets thought the best course of action would be to place nuclear weaponry in Cuba to deter any further attempt of invasion. During a secret meeting in July between Castro and Khrushchev, it was agreed that several missile sites would be constructed beginning at the end of the summer. Though it became evident that the Cubans were building up their military, no spy planes flew over Cuba from September 5th to October 14th. However, on October 15th, pictures from the U-2 spy plane confirmed that the Soviets were in fact constructing medium-range and intermediate-range ballistic nuclear missiles.
Mr. President, the Soviets are in Cuba building missile sites.
Oh no, what are we going to do?
Don't worry, Jackie. I'll handle it. I will immediately contact Khrushchev. I think we can reach an understanding. I mean, this really isn't cool. What if this started a nuclear war?
Oh, Jack, you always know what to do.
I'll send in more spy planes.
The U.S. realized this would neutralize the effectiveness of the missile base controlled in Turkey and started to panic. This marks the beginning of the 13-day Cuban Missile Crisis. President Kennedy and the National Security Council briefly considered an attack, but decided against it.
Sir, we need to show sign of force. We can't launch any attacks on these missile sites. That has the potential to cause a full-blown nuclear war. I better go talk to my old pal Khrushchev. We need to put the Soviets in their place. Beat them down! No! That would be catastrophic! What we really need is to block them off. A naval quarantine. That will show them who's boss.
I don't know, Mr. President.
It's essential that we don't bring ourselves any closer to nuclear war. Launching a missile would be mutually assured destruction.
Sure thing, sir.
It's foolproof. We'll have the Navy stop all their ships and inspect them. Go call the officers.
Aye.
It was announced that the U.S. would not permit offensive weapons to be delivered to Cuba and that they must be returned to the USSR. Khrushchev responded in a letter to President Kennedy on October 24, 1962, that the blockade of navigation in international waters and airspace constituted an act of aggression propelling humankind into the abyss of a world nuclear missile war. Several Soviet ships tried to run the blockade, heightening tensions. The U.S. Navy was given orders to fire warning shots and then open fire.
October 24, 1962, a majority of the Soviet ships that were en route to Cuba reversed their course. However, one ship remained on course towards Cuba. American military forces announced a DEFCON 2, meaning that the country was on a fast pace towards the next steps of nuclear war. DEFCON 2 remains the highest DEFCON level ever reached.
Several letters were sent back and forth between the two superpowers. Kennedy demanded Khrushchev remove the missiles, but to no avail. The United Nations Secretary General requested that the two nations enter a cooling-off period. Khrushchev said yes, but Kennedy refused, raising the stakes even higher. On October 28th, Khrushchev agreed to dismantle the missile sites subject to UN inspections. The U.S. publicly promised never to invade Cuba and privately agreed to remove its missiles in Turkey, which were by then obsolete and had been supplanted by submarines equipped with UGM-27 Polaris missiles. This crisis is noted for bringing the world the closest it's ever been to a nuclear war.
Cuba! Cuba! Cuba!
I don't think we know.
Oh dear.